All right, everyone, take a deep breath.
Seriously.
Just inhale and exhale, because the silence is finally broken. The wait for House of the Dragon Season 3 has felt like, well, I mean, it's felt like an eternity in the Black Cells, hasn't it?
It really has.
But the teaser is finally here, and my God, if you thought the Dance of the Dragons was already intense, what we are seeing now is just a complete paradigm shift. We aren't just looking at a skirmish anymore, you know? This
Yeah.
promises total, absolute chaos.
Well, it really is a massive escalation. I mean, if you look back at Season 2, it was arguably a slow burn. It was the lighting of the fuse, really, the positioning of the pieces.
Right.
But this teaser makes it very clear that the explosion has actually happened. The board isn't just set anymore. The board is on fire. The scale of the conflict has expanded in every single direction, geographically, emotionally, and, well, violently.
Yeah, the gloves are completely off. And before we start dissecting every single frame, and believe me, we are going to get granular in this deep dive today because there are these tiny blink and you miss it details that just change the whole story, we need to quickly reset the stage.
Definitely.
Because the stakes are incredibly specific right now. We left off with the realm totally split in two. You have the Greens, right? Alicent and her son Aegon holding King's Landing, and the Blacks, Rhaenyra and Daemon plotting from Dragonstone.
Right, but we really have to remember the emotional core of that finale.
Yeah.
Because it drives absolutely everything we're seeing now. It wasn't just about sides. It was Alicent's realization. That specific moment where the floor just dropped out from under her.
Oh, man.
She realized she had fundamentally misunderstood King Viserys' dying words. He wasn't talking about her son, Aegon II, taking the throne. He was talking about the prophecy, the Song of Ice and Fire, and Aegon the Conqueror.
That gut-wrenching, oh no, I've destroyed the kingdom by accident moment.
Precisely. It's the realization that she made a catastrophic mistake that plunged the entire realm into war. And because of that crushing guilt and her genuine belief that her son Aegon was broken and dying anyway, she effectively defected.
Yeah.
She went to Rhaenyra and agreed to help her take the Red Keep. She was literally ready to open the gates and just end it.
Which is wild when you think about it. The leader of the opposition literally handing over the keys. So our mission for this deep dive is to look at how that massive decision is actually playing out in the new footage. We're going to act as your guides through the costume changes, the dragon warfare strategies, and the hidden details that tell us this season is going to be a complete bloodbath.
I am so ready. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack the first major visual cue that I think everyone on the internet is screaming about right now. We see Alicent Hightower, the woman who literally defined her faction, the Greens, by wearing a green dress.
Wearing blue.
Yes.
Wearing blue. It is a massive detail. It's not just a fashion choice. It's a political declaration. I mean, throughout the first 2 seasons, her wardrobe was essentially a weapon. Green was the color of House Hightower, calling its banners to war. Seeing her in blue is a complete deliberate reversal.
But is it just a callback for her? Or is she trying to hide?
I think it's both. But mostly it's a rejection of her current self. She wore blue in her childhood, back when she and Rhaenyra were friends, reading under the weirwood tree.
Oh, right.
By returning to that color, she's signaling visually to us that she is no longer Team Green. She is stepping away from the faction she created. It suggests she's seeking peace, or at least she's trying to detach herself from the identity of the Queen Mother who started a civil war.
It's almost like she's trying to reboot her life to a safe point before everything went wrong. But here's the thing. Can you actually just quit a civil war?
That is the ultimate tragedy here. You can't just turn off a war machine once you've started it.
Yeah, the gears are turning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We see Rhaenyra revealing to her council that Alicent came to Dragonstone and offered to open the gates.
Yeah.
But the teaser shows us the reality on the ground. The Green faction isn't just Alicent anymore. It's a massive bureaucracy. It's a standing army.
Yeah, we see the soldiers, the commanders, the men surrounding the throne. They don't look like they're standing down just because Mom changed her outfit.
Not at all. There is a huge power vacuum opening up. Alicent might be ready to hand over power, but the transition won't be easy. The soldiers, the men who have staked their lives and their fortunes on Aegon's claim, they are ready for full war.
Right.
Alicent might be wearing blue, but the men she empowered are still very much wearing green. And they aren't going to let her just walk away.
And speaking of the men she empowered who won't let her walk away, let's talk about the situation in the Red Keep. because we see Aemon sitting on the Iron Throne, and let's be honest, he looks absolutely terrifying.
He really does. The tension in that throne room is thick enough to choke on. You have to remember, Aemond is sitting there knowing exactly what he did. He attacked his own brother, King Aegon, during the battle at Rook's Rest, just to take the crown for himself. He is suspicious, he's paranoid, and now he's actively questioning where his mother has been.
It looks like a coup within a coup. The footage strongly suggests Aemon has actually kicked Alicent off the small council entirely.
He has. He's effectively fired his own mother. And what's truly devastating for Alicent is who is standing right next to Aemond. Criston Cole.
That has to hurt so much. Cole was her sworn protector, her former lover. He was her guy.
He was the one person she thought was loyal to her, not just the crown. But Cole has chosen his side, and is not with the woman wearing blue. He is sided with the strength, with Aemond.
Wow.
He is ready for total war. This leaves Alicent completely isolated in the city she's supposed to be ruling. It's a betrayal that cuts deeper than any knife.
But wait, here's where it gets really complicated. Because the plan Alicent had, the one she told Rhaenyra about, was that she could come in and execute Aegon because he was helpless, broken in bed. Just an easy target. But there is a major twist in the footage. King Aegon is gone. The bed is empty.
This is a classic best-laid plans moment. Alicent assumed Aegon was a sitting duck. She underestimated the one player who is always 3 steps ahead. Larys Strong.
The Master of Whisperers. I have to say, he gives me such serious Littlefinger vibes, but somehow even creepier.
He really is the silent planner of this era. Larys has smuggled Aegon out of the city. We see a shot of them walking through what looks like a jungle or the wilds, far away from the comforts of the Red Keep.
Yeah.
And Aegon says something that I think is the most shocking line in the teaser. He says, "The king has abdicated the throne."
That line gave me chills, but does it actually count? Like, if you quit your job in the middle of the woods and nobody hears you, did you really quit?
Legally? Probably not. But psychologically, it's huge. He is self-aware now. He knows he's no longer in charge. But think about Larys's motivation here. Why smuggle out a broken, abdicated king?
Right. Why bother?
Because a king in your pocket is a incredibly powerful tool. Aemond is uncontrollable. But Aegon is completely dependent on Larys now.
It completely flips the strategy of the Black faction on its head. Rhaenyra is coming to execute a king who isn't even there. So the king is missing, the queen mother is fired and wearing blue, and the prince regent is burning things down. Just a typical Tuesday in Westeros.
It's a total mess.
But the map is getting bigger, right? We aren't just stuck in King's Landing anymore. The scope of this season seems to be expanding massively.
It is. We are finally heading down to the Reach, and we are introduced to a character who has been mentioned but never seen on screen before, Rhaenyra Targaryen.
Alicent's 4th son, the one who was sent away to Old Town. He's finally entering the chat.
Exactly. He's been growing up in the Reach, completely away from the toxic politics of his family. But now he's entering the fray, and he's not coming alone. We finally get to see Targaryen, the Blue Queen.
A fresh, hot dragon. But does one young dragon really make a difference when you have absolute monsters like Vhagar and Caraxes flying around?
It absolutely does. Targaryen is young, sure, but she's fast, and she's still a dragon. It shifts the balance of power, because it opens a completely new front. Darren is marching with the Hightower army, led by Aemond Hightower.
Okay.
They're marching from the south to fight for Aegon. So think about the irony here. While Alicent is in King's Landing, literally trying to surrender, her family and her youngest son, riding a blue dragon, no less, are marching to fight for the very cause she's abandoning.
That is tragic irony at its finest. Okay, so we have a pincer movement forming, an army coming from the south, but we also see a lot of action in the Riverlands in this teaser. This seems to be where everything is colliding.
The Riverlands are historically the meat grinder of Westeros. It's right in the middle of everything. We see Vhagar Aemond's massive, ancient dragon causing absolute devastation at Harrenhal.
Harrenhal just cannot catch a break. Every season, something terrible happens there.
It's cursed for a reason. But look at the tactical movement here. Criston Cole is leading an army out of King's Landing, marching toward the Riverlands. There is this incredibly ominous shot of Cole looking down at a massive dragon footprint in the mud.
Likely Vhagar's.
Almost certainly. It shows the sheer scale of the monster he's allied with, but it also puts Cole in a very dangerous position. He's marching into the central point where all these armies are going to crash into each other. He thinks he's the hammer, but he might just be the anvil.
Because who is crashing into them? The North? I saw those stark banners, and I may have let out a little squeal.
The Winterwolves have arrived. We see Cregan Stark, who we met briefly last season, but now the Starks are actually marching north to south. They are heading straight for the Riverlands to support Rhaenyra.
And the Northerners are built different, right? They aren't playing the same political games as the Southerners.
They are much harder. They are more brutal in battle. So you have the Hightowers coming from the south, the Starks coming from the north, and Criston Cole stuck right in the middle with a psychopath on a giant dragon. It's a powder keg.
And amidst all this land war, we have to talk about Daemon. In season 2, he was, well, let's be charitable and say he was finding himself at Harrenhal. He was hallucinating, plotting against Rhaenyra, doing his own thing entirely. But here, he seems completely different.
It's a massive shift. He's hyping her up now. He's saying, "You are the Queen of Dragons."
You?
I think it goes directly back to that vision he had at Harrenhal.
Yeah.
He saw the White Walkers, he saw the prophecy, the Song of Ice and Fire. He realized that this isn't just about who gets to sit on a pointy chair. It's about the actual survival of the human race.
So he believes Rhaenyra is essential to saving the world. He's not just a loyal husband anymore. He's a true believer.
Exactly. He's no longer fighting her for authority. He's fighting to put her in power because he believes the prophecy demands it. We see his dragon, Caraxes, the red worm, screaming at full volume. Daemon is fully committed, but for reasons that are much bigger and perhaps darker than just petty politics now.
Okay, so we've covered the land war. But the teaser gives us a look at what might be the biggest set piece of the entire season. Honestly, probably the biggest thing since the show started. The Battle of the Gullet.
This is the highlight. This is the main event. This is what we were all waiting for in the season 2 finale, and it looks like they used the extra time to make it absolutely massive. It's naval warfare, dragons versus ships.
The ultimate showdown. And we finally see the fleet that Tywin Lannister went through so much trouble to get.
Poor Tywin. Mud wrestling with pirates in the Triarchy really paid off, though. He secured that fleet, and now it has arrived to break the blockade of King's Landing.
Why is this battle so critical? I mean, besides the obvious cool factor of dragons burning wooden boats?
It's about starvation. The Valyrian fleet has been choking King's Landing, cutting off all their food and supplies. The people in the city are starving. If the Triarchy breaks the blockade, the Greens survive. If the Blacks hold the line, they keep the city by the throat.
But the Blacks aren't defenseless out there on the water. We see the dragon riders. And I noticed something really cool. Baela Targaryen is right in the thick of it.
This is a really interesting detail for those who know everything about this era. Historically, based on what we know, Baela isn't always described as an active combatant in the early stages of this specific battle.
Right.
But here, we clearly see her riding Moondancer, actively engaging the fleet.
I love that change. She's not just sitting on the sidelines safely. She's diving straight into arrow fire.
She is, and she's not alone out there. We see Jacaerys Jace on his dragon Vermax. He's shouting Dracarys. He is actively commanding the battle. And we also see Adam of Hull, Corlys Valerian's bastard son, joining in as well.
It feels like the next generation is truly taking over. The parents are plotting in castles, but the kids are the ones actually fighting the war.
That's a great observation. It is going to be potentially the most exhausting battle in the universe. You have the Sea Snake, Corlys Valerian commanding the ships, and these young, relatively inexperienced dragon riders up against a massive pirate armada. It's going to be pure chaos on the water.
But, and here's where it gets a little scary, there is some very heavy foreshadowing in this teaser. We see a shot of Rhaenyra looking through flames. It's haunting. She doesn't look like a regal ruler there. She looks completely broken.
She does, and it's paired with Daemon's voiceover saying, "This is the moment you become the queen."
That feels incredibly loaded. She's already the queen. What does he even mean by that?
It implies a transformation. A hardening of her character. If you connect the dots here, we have a massive battle at the Gullet where her son, Jace, is front and center. We have Aemond's brutality running unchecked. We have Rhaenyra staring into the fire with this intense, almost dead look in her eyes.
You think she loses someone?
I think the moment she becomes the queen might actually be the moment she loses the last thing that made her merciful. Rhaenyra has already lost one son, Luke, to Aemond. If she loses another, if something happens to Jace in this naval battle.
It stops being a war for the throne and starts being a war for total annihilation.
Exactly. That stare through the fire isn't just sadness, it's raw rage. It hints that the restraint she tried so hard to show in the earlier seasons, sending food to King's Landing, trying to avoid dragon-on-dragon battles, that's all completely gone.
We also saw a really quick shot of Aegon stabbing someone, which feels incredibly visceral and violent for him.
Right, which goes back to him being missing. The show is filling in the blanks of his journey.
Mm.
He's not just hiding out in some luxury villa in the woods. He's encountering real violence. He's fighting for his survival in a very physical way, right down in the mud and the blood. This is Aegon stripped of his crown, stripped of his Kingsguard, having to fight for his own life.
So, bringing it all together, we have a missing king fighting in the mud, a defecting queen mother wearing blue, a prince regent scorching the earth, and a queen on Dragonstone who looks ready to burn it all down.
That's the trajectory we are on. If we synthesize everything we've seen, the Dance of the Dragons has moved way beyond diplomacy. It is now a three-front war.
Oh.
You have the Gullet at sea, the Riverlands on land, and this bizarre political vacuum operating inside King's Landing.
And it feels like the big takeaway here is that the family trauma has fully metastasized. It's infected the whole continent.
It really has. It's messy, it's complicated, and it's fueled by these deep, tragic misunderstandings. Alicent misunderstood a prophecy. Aemond misunderstood his place in the family hierarchy. Rhaenyra is misunderstood by the realm. And now thousands of people are going to die for it.
It's heavy, and it's going to be spectacular to watch. But before we sign off, I want to leave you, our listeners, with a thought that you sparked earlier. It's a really provocative idea, but I just can't get it out of my head.
Let's hear it.
If Alicent has truly given up, she's wearing blue, she's done, and if Aegon has, as he said, abdicated in the woods, then who are these armies actually fighting for?
That is the ultimate question, isn't it?
Is the war now just self-sustaining? Are the Hightowers and the Starks and the Lannisters fighting for a king who doesn't even want the crown anymore? Has the war become a monster that just doesn't need a master?
It's a terrifying thought. Once the dragons are actually dancing, maybe the music doesn't stop just because the dancers want to go home. The inertia of war itself might be the true villain of Season 3.
Definitely something for you to mull over until the season drops. Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive today. I feel like I need a stiff drink and a suit of armor now.
It is always a pleasure to analyze the chaos with you.
And to you, listening, let us know, are you Team Blue? Team Black? Or are you just hoping Harrenhal gets some really good fire insurance? Thanks for listening to this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.